今から10年前に書いた文章を読み上げます。日本語版は、下に載せておきますので、日本語で読みたい方は、ぜひチェックしてください。コメント欄に載せておきます。で、ちなみに日本語版は若干、ちょっと違うんですけど、ほとんど一緒です。はい、読み上げます。I'm now going to read a piece that I wrote 10 years ago called Hero. January 28th, 2010. It is with great sadness I begin this post, a post I never imagined I'd be writing. A post about my dear friend Rodger Swan, who passed away yesterday at 6:40 p.m. For those of you who may not know, Rodger was one of my guest writers for this website, my old website. He wrote a column called Tokyo Shelf in which he reviewed Japanese novels. Rodger was also the creator of Tokyo Swan, a popular video blog of his study abroad in Tokyo, and more recently, Iwate Swan, a similar blog of his experiences working on the JET program. Rodger led a life in many ways parallel to my own, but did it with a tangible warmth that enveloped everyone around him. Today I'm going to write about the Rodger Swan that I knew and the impact he had on my life. I met Rodger Swan on September 13th, 2008. He sat next to me on a bus on our way to the Shin Kawasaki city office. Hi, I said. I'm from Seattle. How about you? I'm from Michigan, he said, from a town famous for making cereal. This was my first encounter with Rodger. As the day progressed and we continued to receive piles and piles of paperwork, I learned that Rodger was living next door to me in Plume IS, our small dorm in Shin Kawasaki. Rodger, like myself, had never drank alcohol or used any drugs, and this was a rarity in our dorm, and thus the two of us quickly clicked and began talking on a regular basis. Before the school year started, I remember being intrigued one day as I heard Rodger's voice float through the window. I peeped out my balcony to discover Rodger filming the first episode of the much-loved and often featured YouTube series, Tokyo Swan. I interrupted Rodger in the middle of making this video.
A little movie in here with everybody, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to the first installment of Tokyo Swan. I'm Swan, for those that don't know. And here I am in Kawasaki, Kanagawa, which is sandwiched right between, I guess, the greater area of Tokyo and Yokohama. But anyways, there's a lot of nice places to visit, and this is a very nice place as well. I'm very pleased with my dorm. It's incredibly great. So are the people here. Everyone's just really nice. And yeah, so this year I'm an international student at Keio University, which is over by Tokyo Tower. Very happy to be a part of that. I'm very happy to be going there. It's a great opportunity, and I thought I'd just make some videos for everybody back home and anybody on the web who wants to see some cool shots of Japan and whatnot.
This is the Rodger Swan that I met, everyone's little brother. He was the passionate young man willing to do whatever he thought was cool, whether it was listening to Elton John, collecting vintage Sega Dreamcast games, or talking directly into his camera under the eyes of suspicious strangers. Though there was almost always a detectable sense of nervousness in Rodger's actions, he never tried to hide his passion. This is the Rodger I met. This, however, is not the Rodger Swan that passed away yesterday, as anyone of the 2007 to 2008 Plume IS residents or the autumn Quarter 1 KO Level 1 Japanese course can attest to. That's right, Rodger was also in my Japanese class at KO. Not only that, but we sat next to each other for 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 5 months straight. I took my studies extremely seriously and was always in the classroom around 15 to 20 minutes before the class started. But every time I opened the door, Rodger would already be there, quietly studying by himself or having a conversation with his camera.
Hey everybody, it's time for another episode of Tokyo Swan. Today I'm broadcasting to you from Saturday morning in Keio University. This is one of the classes that I have, as you can see. And yeah, it's pretty alien to me to be, at class on a Saturday morning. But you actually do get used to it fairly quickly. It's not too bad. only have class from about 9 to, I think like 12:15 or something on Saturday. Then I have Sunday off, so it's quite nice. The game plan for today is that after class there's going to be a festival at the Yagami campus of KO, and that's actually a lot closer to my dorm than where this campus is. This is the Mita campus. It's about an hour away, so I have to take about an hour's journey to get to class, but I don't really mind. It's quite nice.
When called on by a teacher, Rodger would answer in the same way that he made his initial videos, with the slightest twang of nervousness that had himself and the rest of the class smiling at the end of every question. This was the Rodger Swan that I met, but not the Rodger Swan that passed away yesterday. "Hey man, you want to go to the bathhouse together?" I asked Rodger. "Oh no, that's all right. Thanks though, Kevin." He always did that. He would always say the names at the end of statements. "Thanks, Luke. What's up, Chris? Oh, hey, Andrew. Sure, Jenny." Maybe this is why everyone knew him by the end of the first month. "Have you met Rodger? He's that kind of quiet guy, right?" "Yeah, he's totally chill though, really easy to talk to." "Oh, really?" Really. Rodger, more than anyone in that dorm, was amiable. Perhaps it was the videos. Everyone knew everything about the guy even without talking to him. He was recording his life on a regular basis and showing it to the world. And keep in mind, this was 10 years ago, before vlogging was a real big thing. So when you walked out of the cramped Plume IS elevator and ran into him, there was always something to talk about and absolutely nothing to hide. "Oh, hey man, I saw that video you made in Yokohama. It was really cool." And slowly, one by one, everyone in the dorm was watching Rodger's videos and beginning to celebrate his earnest passion.
So here we are at Yagami Festival, and I cannot wait to eat the octopus balls. So I've already ate one, and it burned my mouth, and it's really good. But look at these, 300 yen, and this just made my day. So, hooray!
And thus Rodger began receiving invites from other members of the dorm and taking baby steps out of his comfort zone. "Hey Luke, how's it going, man?" "Oh, not bad, Kevin. I just got back from the bathhouse with Rodger." "Wait, with Rodger?" I almost couldn't believe my ears. "He didn't film it, did he?" "No, he was totally cool about it." Wow, I thought to myself. About a week later, I ran out of shaving cream and walked next door to Rodger's room. He opened the door and invited me to his birthday party that was going to happen a bit later that week. There I saw but another transformation in Rodger as he drank himself into a stupor of friendliness. Everyone joked with the new face of Tokyo Swan, and the new face stayed.
So welcome to the 6th episode of Tokyo Swan. Today we're actually here in Shibuya. It's been a long week of school, but now we're going to have some fun tonight, hang out, and then go karaoke later on.
Wicked!
That's right, Esmond says it's wicked, so let's have some fun.
Well, we're just going somewhere, basically.
Rodger quickly became more involved with the residents of Plume IS, often going out for drinks in Shibuya or taking a day trip to Odaiba or the Pokemon store. It was also around this time I began talking to Rodger about my girlfriend and what I wanted to give her for Christmas. At the time, I was in love with a young woman living in Tokyo and decided I wanted to give her something very special for Christmas. Rodger, having never had a girlfriend, wasn't the most likely of people to consult, but turned out having the best, most romantic advice of all. Rodger helped me revise and edit a very short book that I wrote for my then girlfriend, as well as give me nearly an entire ream of paper and what must have been a year's worth of ink. This is something I'll never forget, and my favorite memory of Rodger Swan. Watching him bubble over as he flipped through the pages was almost better than giving it to my then girlfriend herself. The additional ideas he gave me in terms of finishing touches were things I could have never thought of by myself, but polishing points that brought my then girlfriend to tears. This is the Rodger Swan that I knew, but not the Rodger Swan that passed away yesterday. Turns out Rodger had so much love advice to give because he was riddling in love himself. Listening to the over-the-top romantics he pulled for a special someone in Plume IS was probably the first time I ever said, "Oh, that's so cute." Rodger, the playboy, the nickname he gave for himself, loved nothing more than making other people smile and was willing to do anything to make it happen. and he did do everything, and it made all of us smile.
Baby, can't you read the signs? Yourself in the sky will make it alright. So come undone now, we'll try to stay alive to the hope and fear inside. Hey child, stay wide. The way you look tonight.
Shortly after this, Rodger took a quick trip back to the States to visit his family and friends. Upon his arrival back in Japan, we had a long catch-up session. Kevin, he told me, I've decided that I'm going to try and improve myself in a lot of different ways. I know you're pretty into fitness. Do you think you could give me some advice? I looked at him and smiled. Absolutely. By the way, did you cut your hair? And is that a new coat? It looks great on you. Rodger, in addition to taking an interest in his health, took several steps towards self-maintenance. I think I speak for most of the members of Plume IS when I say that everyone started to dress nicer after living in Japan for a while. But Rodger took it to a whole new level. Fuzz to faux hawk, grizzly to goatee, patchy to pea coat. Almost overnight, the otaku I met in early September had become a rock star and active member of the Keio drama circle. I went through a similar transformation in my time in Tokyo, feeling myself become an adult and noticing subtle changes in my lifestyle. But watching Rodger go through that change and watching it every day, be it in YouTube or reality, was almost surreal.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Tokyo Swan. Now this week, decided to go to Harajuku. There was just gobs and gobs of people.
Oh yeah, I think it's cool. So we're in the fitting room, so I should probably, wear clothes so I don't hold up the line. Sorry.
Before I knew it, Rodger had thousands of subscribers on YouTube and was receiving comments by the hour. Everyone in our dorm anxiously awaited each episode of Tokyo Swan to see what the Playboy had in store. Rodger touched people with his videos and was featured countless times on YouTube. His honest, courageous style captured the heart of everyone who watched. He created a sort of passion completely absent of arrogance, and it was spectacular.
This is like so Shenmue, like the entire vibe of this place. Oh my gosh, like I wanted to come here for a long time. I guess like I just got so busy during the semester that I forgot about Dobuita and Yokosuka. But now that I'm here, it's just like, it's awesome. It's like, I was playing Shenmue when I was probably like 13, 14 years old, and I was like, that game, this is awesome, and I want to go there. And now here I am, like, it's corny as it sounds, a dream come true,
Eventually, I moved out of the dorm and into the house of my new host family. Rodger and Luke, the guy who lived on the other side of me, helped me transfer suitcase after suitcase filled with workout equipment and expensive-looking clothes from Shin Kawasaki to Kamata. Then, too, Rodger had his camera and graciously captured another one of my favorite memories with him.
So, the last part of this video, we're going to end on a really happy note here, is my friend here, Kevin, who is living next door. He would have been beyond that wall right over there. He applied for a homestay program, and he got it. He got into it, which is great. His Japanese is going to improve so much. He's already making leaps and bounds since the beginning of the semester. And my friend Tokyo Luke and I helped him move in the other day, and it was great. He's living in Kamata now. Really, that's another lively place. It was just, the first time I'd ever been there, and it was really wonderful. So you're in Kamata. The place looks wonderful. Looks like there's a lot to do.
Yes, sir. The only question is Tokyo Swan jealous?
I'll never forget lugging those suitcases all the way to Shin Kawasaki Station. It was absolutely absurd. Rodger and Luke were mumbling all the way until my host mom had filled their mouths with a couple warm plates of yakisoba. From that point forward, Rodger and I began to take our own paths. Rodger was almost a celebrity among the exchange students at KO, and I was still spending most of my free time with my then girlfriend. Fortunately, we saw each other nearly every day in class, though our everyday meetings slowly became more and more sparse. When we did meet, I was always anxious to see her. I was always anxious to hear news about how many girls had fallen for the playboy, as he would jokingly put it, or what ridiculously sweet things he had done for that special someone. Our study abroad eventually came to a close, and we finally said our goodbyes. It's cool. We'll definitely see each other again. That's what we said to each other in late July 2008. Rodger was the only person I actively kept in touch with from Plume IS after returning to the States, though I know that everyone from Plume IS kept in touch with Rodger. Whether it was through mail or a gracious Christmas card, Rodger extended his daily life to all of us and kept us updated on the events we had come to love. I exchanged mails with him regularly during our last year of college, eventually leading up to Tokyo Shelf. When I updated my personal website, it's no longer up. I used to run a website called dogentricks.com. When I updated that website in December 2008, I was searching for writers with similar interests and more than anything else, passion. It was no surprise then that Rodger was the first person I contacted when I began sending out invites. In turn, it was no surprise when Rodger cordially accepted. He immediately began writing and making videos for dogentricks.com and rapidly attracted an entirely new audience. The Playboy himself wrote a weekly column reviewing some Japanese piece of literature, and unlike many of my other writers, and me, he was always punctual about it. Even with his new status of super blogger, he consistently made solid contributions to my website. This is the Rodger Swan that I knew, but still not the Rodger Swan that passed away yesterday. Rodger and I were both accepted to the JET program in April 2009. Here again, I saw my life realign with Rodger as he wrote about his new job or talk about the new series of videos he was so anxious to make.
Hey everybody, it's Tokyo Swan and I'm back with a really important announcement. So, as many of you know, I was accepted into the JET program. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'll find out exactly where in Iwate-ken I'll be later on. I'll be contacted, I suppose, by the actual agency there. But for now, yeah, I'm really excited, so it's good to know where in Japan I'll be back. Definitely wasn't expecting, well, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. But I'm happy with it, and I can't wait. I'm going to leave August 1st, and I'll be back there August 2nd in Tokyo for orientation with JET for a few days, and then I'll move out to the new prefecture. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm really, really excited. It's going to be great. A wonderful new experience.
I only wish that I could have met Rodger one last time at Tokyo orientation or made it up to Iwate before Christmas. Unfortunately, Rodger was in a different orientation group than myself, and I couldn't take time off for a motorcycle ride up to visit Rodger and Luke. Luke, who also was assigned to the JET program in northern Japan. So now here I am, about to begin the last paragraph about one of the best men I've ever met. If you've ever seen The Truman Show, then you may be able to understand Rodger's existence and its importance to everyone that knew him. He was that normal guy that was on video all the time. He was that normal guy that everyone watched grow up. We saw him turn from a boy into a man. We saw him grow. And those of us who began watching, be it out of friendship or even a sympathetic curiosity, we all became hooked and hypnotized by Rodger's complete lack of ego. And as we watched that Rodger grow, we fell more and more in love with him. We fell in love with his normality. We fell in love with his selflessness. We fell in love with the hope that there were still people like Rodger left in the world. He was the most normal, most extraordinary person I've ever met. He had nothing to hide and no one to belittle. He had hope and he followed it boldly. He was that nice guy full of love, and that is simply it. He was Rodger Swan, and he was the shining light of everyone that knew him. This is the Rodger Swan that passed away yesterday, the hero none of us will ever forget.
Tokyo Swan.
Hello everybody, my name is Tokyo Sam and I'm making a video for our guy Dogen here on YouTube to basically celebrate the 10th year anniversary of our friend Rodger Swan, who died 10 years ago today in Iwate Prefecture in Japan. Before I get into anything, I thought that we could start this video out by listening to a song that was made for Rodger called Ryuji Uichi Winter Sunset. This was a song that is featured in Shenmue 3. Rodger loved the video game series Shenmue, and luckily he got a song dedicated to him from the soundtrack. So let's listen to this. That is a beautiful song. That is a beautiful song. I'm sorry if that song gets cut out because of copyright issues. But if you don't get a chance to listen to it here, please go check it out. Again, it's Ryuji Uichi Winter Sunset from the Shenmue 3 soundtrack. I think it is Shenmue 3 soundtrack, but yeah, please check that out. I don't know, what can I say about Rodger that hasn't been said in past videos? It's hard for me to talk about Rodger, because I don't like talking about it. It's always, it always kind of reminds me of my own mortality, that somebody my own age could die so randomly, so quickly, who had so much more potential than I ever could. Rodger's one of those guys who you could see as being a future ambassador, like a future ambassador to, you know, American ambassador somewhere in the world, or you could either see him being somebody like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. He was destined for big things. I don't know. I just feel that he, when he died, I don't know. It felt like it was the biggest kind of this world is not fair feeling that I could get. You know, when I first came to Japan, there weren't many people. There wasn't a lot of people that I could be friends with that were my age. Everybody seemed older than me, especially on YouTube. There was nobody else my age doing YouTube videos regularly except for me and Rodger. And so, because of that small little bond, him and I, we connected just from that alone, and then we became better friends because of it. Now, some things like Rodger's birthday or what Rodger was like when he was back home, I don't know any of that. You know, I'm not one of his super best friends from back home, but I did feel this, connection that we had when he was here, when he was alive. It's just, Rodger was the way better guy than me. You know, he went to Keio University. He got into jet. All these things that I wish I could have done, he did instead of me. But he was so humble. He was so down to earth. And he had awesome, cool hobbies. That, he liked horror movies. He knew way more stuff about Japan and contemporary and old Japan than me. He became more fluent in Japanese than I did at the time. I always feel like I got the lucky lottery ticket. Like, if anyone's going to die that's our age, that's on YouTube, I always feel like it should have been me. But, I always, it always makes me feel bad to think about Rodger and to think about him dying, because it always feels like I lucked out. He was the one who took the bullet for me. And, if there's anything I can say about Rodger, is that it's thanks to him that I want to be a better person. And I hope to keep his memory alive, even though he's no longer around, because if, he was only on this earth for a short amount of time, but for the short amount of time that he was on here, he affected a lot of people. And, he's not a pop star, he's not a politician. He was just some cool dude from Michigan with a YouTube channel. And I hope that you guys go and show him some love too. Go and watch his old videos. They're still on YouTube. You can still see them. And, leave a comment saying that you liked it or whatever. Keep the memory alive. He also has a couple Facebook groups I think you could join. And, I don't know. We're all going to die, but... eventually, I hope that when I do eventually kick the bucket, that people celebrate me the way that I'm celebrating Rodger right now. Rodger, you're still around, if not physically, still in spirit. And I thank you for the time that I got to spend with you.